That background in mind, let's find out what Illinois State students and faculty are saying about this topic. We now go to the Bottom Line's Tiffany Morrison, who's reporting live on campus. Tiffany?
Thanks, Isabella. I'm here on campus where I got some opinions on both the traditions here at the university throughout the years.
I have a couple of people, like my aunt, she went here, and she said that she hasn't been back in a little while, but I feel like if she were to come here, she'd still, she'd know the building, she'd know the area, but I think what's happening in the buildings has changed, but not in a bad way. I think if those people were to come back, they'd be like, man, that is such an improvement. I'm so happy that they have this now.
RSOs out of the tailgates is really a cool thing as well, because you are able to brand yourself while all the family members are there and alumni and everybody's around to see what specifically you do as part of your RSO and to get your name out there a little bit more.
I was a kid, they're already, the stuff that I've noticed has, gone on. Like the fitness center, for example, when I would come to basketball games as a kid, that wasn't there. And already, things are going to be changing by the time I leave, like the Bones Center that they're adding on. I'll come back as an alumni probably the same way they were, saying, all this has changed since I was here. So.
As you can see, many of the students believe that they can see these changes already, but that these changes are actually improvements to both homecoming and the university. For the Bottom Line, I'm Tiffany Morrison. Back to you.
Welcome back. We are going to send it to Tiffany one last time to pull in the voices on ISU's campus. Tiffany?
Thanks again, Isabella. I also asked individuals on campus what they thought that the theme, legacy, for homecoming meant to the university.
So the great thing about legacies is that they're involved in life. And if you can be a part of something that is life-affirming, that makes life better, that makes society better, which I think teaching and student learning is all about that, then it's a legacy that's worthwhile.
Each person that comes to this university has the opportunity to make a legacy for themselves, no matter what your major is or what you plan on doing after graduating.
I was like, oh no, I'm never going to ISU, and I had felt enough of seeing Karen, my sister, do really well here, that she was leaving her legacy here and I could come and be a part of that.
We wanted to continue, and the only way to do that is by, continuing it ourselves, as we keep doing it without, if it were to fade away, it's not going to, return, and we want that to not only continue but to get better, to get, stronger, and the only way we're going to do that is by improving it.
I believe that this idea of legacy plays a crucial role within the university, whether that be with students, faculty, or alumni, as they embrace ISU's traditions. For the Bottom Line, I'm Tiffany Morrison. Back to you.
We head up to the SMAC lab where Tiffany Morrison is ready to fill us in. Tiffany, what did you find?
Thanks, Bailey. So I did do kind of a little bit of research on, just since we were talking about this local food and it being organic, I thought it was important to also research GMOs and kind of what that is. So I first searched the definition of GMO just on Google, and it said that obviously it's abbreviation for genetically modified organism, and it is one that's already been altered by the techniques of genetic engineering so that its DNA contains one or more genes not normally found there originally. And it also says as a side note that a high percentage of food crops such as corn and soybeans are also genetically modified. So I kind of wanted to look into that more, and so I found on this lab area, I found this graph, and as you can see, this is a graph from 1996 to 2014, and this basically shows kind of how much we had been using GMOs and how much we are now, and it's only increased over time. And then this is kind of talking about the herbicide that's tolerant, and then this one is related to insect resistant, and obviously it's used for many other things. And as you can tell, it's in multiple things such as corn, soybean, cotton, tomato, all of those kind of things. then I kind of just looked at the graph, and it had been popping up recently, so I wanted to see how that was coming up. And the number one thing that was trending in regards to GMOs was companies, and kind of in regards to companies using more GMOs, taking off non-GMO labels from their stuff. And then I went to Twitter to kind of see the negatives and positives, and as you can see, GMO is used in a good way, but it can also be used in a bad way, as you can see with Tyson Foods and their chemicals with fish and all of that. So it can be used in both ways. For the bottom line, I'm Tiffany Morrison, and I'll be back later to discuss more on GMOs.
Now we will bring it back to Tiffany Morrison live in the Smack Lab to chime in on social media voices. Tiffany?
Thanks again, Bailey. So going along with kind of what I talked about in the beginning, I looked at GMOs compared to health, just the word natural and organic, and as you can see, all of them are kind of peaking at the same time, meaning that there's a correlation, but not too sure if there's a causation for that. But every term kind of peaked at the same time, and that was around October 10th. In regards to GMO foods, kind of going back to the fact that 75 to 80% are GMO related that we produce, and obviously going GMO isn't that easy, but as you can see, the USDA organic symbol that's on most of the organic foods, National Organic Standards Board, actually allows up to 5% of the weight remaining ingredients to be GMO based. And if you do want to avoid GMOs, you can go somewhere like Aldi that has this label, the non-GMO project label. So, but although it is a supermarket, and it would be best to go to those local organic places to get your food. For the bottom line, I'm Tiffany Morrison. Back to you at the desk.
On campus, Tiffany, how have people helped? What are they thinking?
Thanks, Haley. I'm here live on campus where I got some reactions and some personal connections to the hurricanes from students.
I thought it was pretty crazy, I would say, especially because I felt like in the South it was back-to-back hurricane, like Hurricane Harvey and then Hurricane Irma. So that was pretty crazy to see, but I mean it's cool to see all the relief efforts that are being put in place.
My cousin's husband Pablo has family in Puerto Rico right now that were hit very hard by the hurricane. They're still, from what I know, it's water is scarce right now, power is still off.
My boyfriend has a job in Fort Myers, so he lives in Fort Myers, so he knew that they were going to be hit pretty badly, so their work closed and he got to come home, and he was actually home for 2 weeks because they closed work for a while, so his company did a really great job of letting them work from home.
Say to prepare, they actually had a lot of family and friends come over just to be in a centralized location. And just in case anybody did need help, they were all there. They knew what to do from there. I know that after that happened, there was a lot of power outages, so they needed a lot of relief.
Many students had friends or family who were involved with the hurricane, but luckily they took the precautions needed to stay safe. For the bottom line, I'm Tiffany Morrison. Back to you at the desk.
I'm going to send it to Tiffany one last time to pull in the voices on Illinois State's campus. Tiffany, any new details?
Thanks again, Haley. I also got some students to kind of talk about what they've been doing to help the relief efforts.
Evacuate from Irma. She had to leave her daughter and her husband there. And I ended up taking her out to Chicago, just try to get her mind off of what was going on.
Kind of get the word out. I know my sister had me donate and send me a link, so I did that. And then just I feel like getting the word out as much as you can through your social media presence is a good way to help out the cause.
There are a lot of places. I know the NFL, American Red Cross, there's a lot of places where you can go to do that. with seeing the devastation in Puerto Rico, it definitely opens your eyes, and you really do want to reach out and help.
The school that I volunteer with, or I'm doing my clinicals with for education, did a drive where they gave clothes, everything from clothes, toothpaste, canned goods, and donated them all to victims of the hurricanes recently. So that was pretty cool to see the school come together and kind of do those donations.
Most students are trying to spread the word over social media as much as possible while also partaking in efforts from the community. For the Bottom Line, I'm Tiffany Morrison.
We head up to the SMAC lab, and that's where the Bottom Line's Tiffany Morrison is ready to fill us in. Tiffany, what did you find?
Thanks, Haley. So first, I kind of started off with just getting an overall opinion of kind of what was going on with the First Amendment. So when I searched it, I got kind of responses like it feels like no one knows what First Amendment rights are anymore, and that makes me so sad, kind of stuff like that. And people using the First Amendment's wrong. So I actually got another survey from Twitter that's by the Annenberg Public Policy Center, which stated kind of, they asked people to name the specific rights for the First Amendment, and most people said they can't name or don't know what they are, about 37% who are in that survey. So I kind of wanted to see for myself. I gathered some information. First I did free speech. That one has pretty high exposure, about 2,000. Then we get to freedom of religion, which only got about, the highest peak was 250 for that. And then I kind of went through and did almost all of them. I did freedom of religion, right to petition. Most of them are peaking currently, but as you can tell, the one that has the most peaks is free speech, and that only has a little bit over 2,000. Meanwhile, I also compared them to just Rally in general, and Rally got about 10,000 exposure, and it's pretty, there's a little bit of a down point right here, but for the most part, it's peaking in like that 10,000 range. So this kind of goes to show you that even though people aren't necessarily using the right terms, they are acting upon this by rallying and petitioning. For the Bottom Line, I'm Tiffany Morrison. Back to you at the desk.
We're going to take it back to Tiffany in the SMAC lab. Tiffany.
Thanks again, Haley. So I also wanted to look more into the free speech analysis that I had done earlier. And this, looking at the key terms, pepper spray kind of caught my eye a little bit. So I wanted to go into further research with that. As you can see, free speech and the pepper spray kind of line up perfectly more recently. And so I searched, and the first article that popped up was that the Berkeley police officially got an okay to use pepper spray on protesters. And so this was kind of what sparked the, of why pepper spray and free speech were associated with each other. I got some comments on Twitter that said, from one person said apparently pepper spray is a necessary tool to protect free speech on campus. Can someone please explain this logic? I'll wait. We have another tweet kind of explaining the situation. They also added an article, and then they said that police plus politics equals real threat to free speech, and there was a lot more other tweets, Facebook posts, etc., just kind of going into this idea that are they infringing on free speech and the First Amendment in general, and if they are, they're kind of giving people that are going to do a rally an idea to like kind of not attend it, because I mean, who would want to get pepper sprayed? And they did officially okay this before a rally that was supposed to happen at Berkeley. For the Bottom Line, I'm Tiffany Morrison. Back to you at the desk.
And for that, we head to the SMAC, where Tiffany Morrison is ready to fill us in. Tiffany, what are you finding?
Thanks, Kate. According to a Fraternity Advisor's website, there are over 123 fraternities and sororities nationally, and over 9 million members. To keep this enrollment up, they normally do recruitment videos, and I have a few right here. This one's Theta Phi Gamma. Fraternities also sometimes do recruitment videos, but are more laid back.
College career.
So I'd say the best part about joining Alpha 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 would be that I voluntarily pay $300 a semester to wear a suit and hang out with my friends.
Before I joined Alpha, my self-esteem was pretty average, but now, I don't even have one.
The question is, with these recruitment videos, is it really worth it to join Greek life in university? We'll be talking about that more when we get back to the SMAC. Back to you, Kate.
And now we bring it back to Tiffany live in the SMAC to chime in more on social media voices. Tiffany?
As Kate has kind of touched on a little bit, there are a lot of positives and negatives to being involved in Greek life and kind of just the stuff that are around Greek life presence. This article from USA Today says that 4 pledges have died in drinking-related incidents in 2017, shedding light on the culture of drinking and sometimes hazing. And other universities have suspended Greek life for reasons ranging from hazing to sexual misconduct and even alcohol abuse. ISU has lost recognition for conduct violations with these sororities, and this has just been in the past couple of years. Delta Chi fraternity, Delta Sigma Phi, Sigma Chi, Sigma Alpha Epsilon, Sigma Tau Gamma, and Alpha Chi Omega. And those were all kind of related to the same kind of suspensions from the other universities. However, there are also positives as well. As you can tell from Fraternity Advisor, 85% of Fortune 500 executives belong to a fraternity, and of the nation's 50 largest corporations, 43 are headed by fraternity men, and so on. There's a bunch of facts about people who have made connections and have been successful throughout. Chi Omega also, with their philanthropy and Make-A-Wish Foundation, they bring the community of Greek life together for their fundraiser, and this year they've raised a record-breaking $43,000. So that's pretty incredible. And to end it off, I mean, at the end of the day, Greek life isn't all about partying. It's about making friends, or making friends and being a bro. You really do get a feeling of being home and having a family. It's about volunteering, going to leadership conferences, and growing into a balanced person. So whether or not you're in Greek life or not, there's definitely some positives and negatives to take into consideration. Back to you, Kate.